Former President Benigno Aquino defends his administration's decision to rush the procurement of the 3.5 billion pesos worth of dengue vaccine in 2015. Aquino testifies before the Senate Blue Ribbon Committee and addresses Senator Dick Gordon's indirect questions on alleged corruption.
From our perspective, the choice is simple. We can implement it at this point in time, afford the protection, or wait at least a year as a minimum and expose our people to a risk that could have been prevented because of this vaccine. And again, maybe just state for the record, what we had then was none of this warning that happened in November 2017.
Yes, sir.
Aquino is referring to French pharmaceutical company Sanofi Pasteur's announcement its vaccine could lead to more severe cases of dengue when administered to individuals who weren't infected by the virus prior to immunization. Gordon questions Aquino's December 1, 2015 meeting with Sanofi officials in Paris and the apparent immediate approval of the vaccine and the funds for it. The senator says the Philippine Food and Drug Administration issued its certification for Dengvaxia on December 22, or just 21 days after Aquino met Sanofi officials in Paris. A week after, the Budget Department released the Special Allotment Release Order or SARO to the Health Department for the procurement of the vaccines. Gordon in a previous hearing said a conspiracy might have been behind the speed of the procurement. Aquino insists the procurement underwent legal process. Still on the Dengvaxia hearing, health experts say the root problem is bad science or wrong information given to Aquino.
If the bad science or wrong information has been fed to the president, how can you blame the president if the president was fed with bad science or wrong information? And even WHO or even Secretary Garin. The problem is that when this particular problem is brought to the president and he thinks this is actually a sense of urgency.
Aquino also says no one advised him against Dengvaxia.
Bago nagdesisyon ang gobyerno sa Dengvaxia, habang nagdedesisyon at maski pagkatapos magdesisyon, wala pong nagparating sa akin ng pagtutol sa naturang bakuna.
The Senate and the House of Representatives on Wednesday ratified the Tax Reform for Acceleration and Inclusion or TRAIN bill. It will cut income taxes but adds levy on fuel, cars, mining, coal, and tobacco. The bicameral conference committee version will now be sent to President Rodrigo Duterte for signing into law. Once signed, the measure is set to be implemented by January 1, 2018. In the House, no questions are asked before ratification, so the process takes only a minute. ACT Teachers Representative Antonio Tino tries to object due to lack of quorum but is not recognized by House Duty Speaker Raneo Abu. In the Senate, the chamber ratifies the BICAM report 16-4. There's also last-minute confusion after it is found the House supposedly inserted a provision retaining the value-added tax exemptions of locally produced coal, contrary to what the joint panel earlier approved. There were reportedly 2 BICAM reports sent to lawmakers. The BICAM agreed to increase the excise tax on coal from 10 pesos to 50 pesos for 2018, 100 pesos for 2019, and 150 pesos for 2020. As for income taxes, lawmakers agreed to exempt from the tax the first 250,000 peso annual income of Filipinos, whether compensation earners or self-employed. This means those earning around 21,000 pesos a month would no longer need to pay income taxes. To compensate for the loss of revenue, Congress increases taxes on fuels such as gasoline, diesel, and liquefied petroleum gas. This means higher prices for these commodities. The joint panel also decided to increase the prices of tobacco by 2018, despite the absence of this provision in both the Senate and House versions. The BICAM also approves increase in taxes for automobiles, mining, and cosmetic surgeries. President Rodrigo Duterte on Wednesday says he has no plans of filing cases against former President Benigno Aquino, despite whatever grievance he may have with him. Earlier that day, Duterte defended government officials who green-lighted the government's purchase of the controversial Dengvaxia vaccine. Former President Benigno Aquino is among the former officials being blamed for the purchase since it was made during his administration. Duterte says he would wait for the conclusion of an independent investigation before passing judgment. Aquino, during a Senate probe Thursday, defends his administration's purchase of Dengvaxia, saying the procurement of the dengue vaccine wasn't rushed and underwent legal process. He also said nobody advised him against Dengvaxia. Tropical Depression Urduja slightly intensifies as it approaches Samar. As of 5 p.m., State Weather Bureau Pag-asa says Urduja is 85 kilometers east-southeast of Gian, eastern Samar. Urduja packs maximum sustained winds of 65 kilometers per hour and gustiness of up to 95 kilometers per hour. Signal number 2 is raised over eastern Samar, Samar, and Biliran, while at signal number 1 over Catanduanes, Camarines Sur, Albay, Sorsogon, Masbate, Romblon, northern Samar, Leyte, southern Leyte, northern Cebu including Bantayan Island, Capiz, Aklan, and northern Iloilo. Follow Rappler.com for continuing updates. Facebook rebuffs a former executive who earlier said the social media giant is ripping apart the social fabric of how society works. Former Facebook VP for User Growth Chamath Palihapitia said he feels tremendous guilt for helping build the social media company. Palihapitia makes the remark amid the alleged meddling of Russia in the United States election and the weaponization of the internet for propaganda around the world. He said, quote, "No civil discourse, no cooperation, misinformation, mistruth. And it's not an American problem. This is not about Russian ads. This is a global problem." Facebook says it was a different company when Palihapitia was still affiliated with the company. Facebook in a statement says, quote, "When Chamath was at Facebook, we were focused on building new social media experiences and growing Facebook around the world. Facebook was a very different company back then, and as we have grown, we have realized how our responsibilities have grown too." It adds Palihapitia has not been at Facebook for over 6 years. Facebook also says it is willing to reduce profitability to make sure the right investments are made.